Okay, let's see if this works now. So sorry about that, guys. I can see she's trying to get in the room, but it wasn't allowing her to. So I'm gonna try again. There we go. All right, there you go. Hi,
Can you
Nicole.
see me?
Yes, I can see you, and you're
Oh,
perfect
okay.
inside inside the
Okay.
box.
Thank you. Oh, it's in the box now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I worked out
Okay.
perfectly. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I would like to know how dare you get all dressed up and upstage me? What do you have a
I
dress?
didn't try anything. I didn't try. I didn't. You
It
know,
looks so
and
nice.
oh, thank you. You look beautiful too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining today. Guys, welcome to Let's Talk Business with Suzette. Today's special guest is Nichole Taylor. She is a realtor, the owner of Tailored Realty, and we're going to be talking about commercial real estate specifically today. She does offer both services, residential and commercial, but today we're going to be focusing on primarily commercial. So, Nichole, thank you so much for joining me today. Um, Tell me more about yourself and your journey as a realtor
Um,
and your business.
like I've always loved business. I've always been a businesswoman. Like I've done
Yeah.
several different ones, but like what took me to real estate is I was working with a property management position and I just like I had an opportunity and long story short, I ended up in real estate and it just stuck. So I my one of my first deals was a commercial building. So that
Oh,
kind of
really?
yeah, so that kind of made me like that was my thing.
Go
I was
to.
like, this is where I belong here, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So after that, I kind of said, you know what? Real estate is an amazing way to make money and just connect with
Mhm.
people and to build like it's a stepping stone. So now I decided to open up the brokerage and like work with some amazing people and just kind of build the company from there, you know?
Oh, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, guys, to kind of give you a little background, Nicole and I went to school together, elementary school. I haven't seen her since grade seven and bumped into her early this year. And it was funny because I'm walking into the office. I'm like, that's such a beautiful office. And then it was Nicole's office. I haven't seen her like over 20 something years.
Yeah,
Still
it was
looks the same. She
crazy.
still looks exactly the same.
Last person
And
I thought I was gonna see, like last person.
I know that was such an awesome moment.
Yeah,
And here you are with your brokerage. Congratulations.
thank
How
you.
long ago did you open your own brokerage?
So October 2018 is when we officially got the license, and
Yeah.
then pretty much the end of 2019, I started taking it seriously, like where we were actually making deals, and it was I took it to the next level.
Oh, perfect. And your very first deal was an actual
Yeah,
commercial deal. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So you offer both, right? You mentioned that you offer residential as well as commercial, but you specifically you do the commercial part of it.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is it that you like about commercial versus residential?
With commercial, I just love business. I love business people. I connect with the mindset, the mentality that business people, how they think. I'm a numbers person through and through, so I'm always about like, does this make sense, numbers
Mhm.
wise, business wise. So
Mhm.
the commercial was the kind of like a second nature. If I'm going to be in real estate, I want to work with people that like want to expand their business and like they need help with the numbers. What makes
Yeah. No, of course it makes sense. And then you get to see
Mhm.
the whole journey, right? Sometimes from when they're starting from a shell. I saw you posted a picture the other day where it's just an empty room, and
Yeah,
then they build up from it, and you get to see that
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah,
So that's
and that's the thing I want to show. Like anytime I do a commercial sale, I want to show like
mhm,
the beginning to like what
mhm,
they transformed it into. So
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's really good. I'd love
yeah,
to do it. I don't know if I have the patience for it, but
yeah.
I don't. Do you find that like doing commercial and residential is different? Like, do you have to show as much places as you would commercial versus residential?
It's kind of the same, like to be
Really?
honest. If you're a good realtor, then you'll kind of like eliminate the time wasting from just
Mm.
things alone.
a
and
good point.
you'll do your numbers and you'll talk to the agents ahead of time to see if this makes sense for your client. But yeah, like I do find that it's the same process, but it's just a different mentality when you're going into it. So
Yeah.
on one hand, with commercial, you're going into it with numbers and cents, and then on the
Hmm.
other hand, with residential, you're going into it with comfort and like just criteria,
Emotions.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, emotion. So
Yeah.
it's
It
two
makes
different.
sense. We're just talking briefly earlier today, and the same thing when you mentioned numbers. I was like, if I find a place, I need to make sure that it can make its money back and then some, right? So I
Yeah,
totally get what you're saying. It makes a huge
exactly.
difference.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what are some things that a business owner should consider when they're searching for a commercial property? Is there anything specifically that they should look out for, and does it depend on the business? Like, what should a
Um,
person look for?
Definitely, like depends on what like business you have, but like zoning is a big thing. Like if you're gonna open up a shop, whatever industry, like let's, for example, I have a client right now that he has a dispensary and they also do producing, they manufacture
Yeah.
cannabis, and
Hmm.
that has to be zoned correctly. You can't just go in any neighborhood to do that, right? So zoning, you have to look at the square footage, you have to look at like what your use is, this, yeah.
So for the zoning, for example, is it on your listing? Like, does it show you, like, how do you know where the zoning is? Like, how
Yeah,
would you?
most listings, if the realtor is like thorough, they'll put the zoning on there, and that's what you want to see. Like if, whether it's M1 or CR, like as something, you have to look up the zoning. But that's something your realtor should really let you know. And like,
Oh,
yeah, they're privy to
beforehand.
that. Exactly. They're the ones that should really let you know, like, okay,
They should, yeah. I can
this,
imagine a lot of people probably half-ass the listing. Some realtors that just like want to post, and they're not really like focused. I've
yeah,
seen some detailed listings, and it's
yeah.
like everything's kind of there for you. And then I've seen some was like space available. You're like, okay,
Hmm.
you want to write anything else?
Yeah,
Um, and that makes sense that you should know that beforehand, because that way, you're not wasting your time going to look at
yeah,
something that's not zoned properly.
yeah.
So, okay, so zoning is a big thing, which would make sense. So, guys, just if you're jumping in today, speaking with Nichole from Tailored Realty, we're talking about commercial locations. She's a realtor that specializes in commercial. So, um, what else? So, zoning, is there anything else that they should consider
Um,
when looking for a space?
you know what, just like the growth that you want to do. So like let's say you're a business and you're growing, and then
Mhm.
you say, okay, yeah, I need more square footage, but where do you want to be in 2 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Normally lease terms are like 2 to 5 years. So
Okay.
you have to make sure that like you're getting a space that you can grow in. So square
Yeah.
footage, as I said, that's a big thing, the square footage. That's why I keep repeating it. But like you have to make sure that you have enough space for your growth. Yeah. And then
That's a big thing.
yeah,
Hmm.
it is. And then just like another thing to consider is like if you're sharing with other people, if you're sharing the
Mm.
common elements, uh location,
Oh, it's a big thing.
yeah,
Location. That's
yeah,
a huge thing. A friend of mine, she has a party decor place,
yeah.
and she was doing it from home, outgrew her home, and now she has a store in Scarborough, and it's 2 stories, but like the basement is just like for storage.
Mm-hmm.
And she carries all these huge figurines, like
Yeah,
8 foot Incredible Hulks. And you go in the store and it's so ram packed in there because
yeah.
she doesn't have a space for it. So now she's looking for a space. I don't know how it works with the lease, like because I think there's some years left remaining in it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing to consider, like your growth. That makes a big thing. Sometimes when people are doing business owners are doing something, just think of it now
Exactly,
versus how big can I expand it.
exactly.
Um, you mentioned something about like if you're sharing the space. If someone were to share, do they have to both go on the lease, or can one person go on and they make an arrangement? What do you think is the best thing to
Yeah, so
do?
when I said that, I meant more like different units. So if there's multiple
Oh,
units in one building, then there might be some common elements. I've seen a lot of times like the bathroom is shared because it's in the hallway. So
oh, okay.
you know what I mean?
Like
Like
in an office
even
space.
exactly.
Okay, get it. Okay.
That's one thing. But like what you're talking about with the shared, if you have somebody on the lease, then yeah, of course, whoever's on the lease, like how many people it is, then you share everything. That's like you
Mm-hmm.
guys are all equal to be
It
responsible
makes sense.
for
Yeah.
the money. Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right. So, at what point should a business owner consider getting a commercial space? I just mentioned my friend who outgrew her home, which a lot of
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah.
What would you recommend? At what point?
So it depends on really if you're like if you're comfortable or not. Like if you're not comfortable and you're outgrowing your space right now, then
Hmm.
100% you need to get in a space that can accommodate your business and the growth that
Hmm.
it has, because the worst thing to do is like uh not be able to have some elbow room, right? So yeah, at what point you should consider is growing is if you need more space, and
Hmm.
or if your zoning matters, because sometimes if you're working from home, you can't be running your like certain businesses from home. Like it's just not feasible or it's not proper. So you
Or legal?
expand. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing is that if you different partners and you guys have an influx of money, then
Hmm.
maybe you want to expand and grow the business, because like when you put money into your business for space and just signage and like location, then that will grow your business as well. So if you think that you can make more money by expanding, then yeah, that would make more sense.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you just mentioned something about like expanding. On a side note, if someone is in a lease, for example, my friend, I don't know if you know this or not, but and they wanted to move because they're outgrowing. What's the basis around that? Can they break the lease? Like, is there any penalties you know of, or like how does it work? They could sublet it. I don't know if it's the same thing with
Yeah, so
residential.
I mean, with commercial, they're pretty strict on not breaking the
Okay.
lease, or else you'd be liable to pay for the remainder. Um,
Mm.
but if they let you sublet, which has to be agreed upon in the beginning, or
Mhm.
you have to talk to your landlord and say, "Can I do this?" It's pretty easy to do that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
that's an option if they agree to it.
100%. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's
Okay.
very common. Even on MLS, there's a like checkbox for sublease.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lease
Oh, I didn't know that.
just for commercial though.
Just for commercial, no, and it
Yeah.
makes sense because, like, for example, my friend, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a few months remaining, and if she finds somewhere else,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if she could like sublet it or what would happen
Yeah.
then. Okay, so what are some basic and common things that a business owner would need in order to qualify for a commercial property?
So you definitely have to have a business license. You definitely have to have something credibility for the business. They're always gonna ask for a credit check on the business and or an indemnifier, which it would be you if the business doesn't have credibility or credit so far. That's number one. And then they're just gonna want to know like where you've been, what business you're running, like how long you've been in business. Um, you would need insurance. You would need to set up utilities. So it's kind of
Okay.
like the same thing if you're in a
Go
house.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the insurance, is it mandatory that you have insurance on, is it just the property itself or the contents or both?
Um, you would have to have, well, normally it's either 2 million to 5 million insurance,
Okay.
like liability insurance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
that's
got it.
a normal amount. And
Hmm.
realistically, you should be insured for everything.
Sure. It makes sense because if you have your store or whatever and something happens and you
Yeah,
don't have coverage, it doesn't you're starting from scratch. Okay,
yeah.
so you said so credit check on the business,
Mm-hmm,
and then if not on yourself. If
mm-hmm.
it's a brand new business, like say for example the person, it's a brand new business and they're just starting out, they would still run a credit check on the business only, or would they do it on the business owner as well?
They would run a credit check mostly on the business, but if
Hmm.
the business doesn't have any credit, then it would definitely be
You
on,
did mention that. Okay,
yeah,
yes, you
on
did
the
mention.
business owner, because then they would have to take the indemnity for that.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
person to make sure. Okay. Okay, so business registration. Now, does it have to be incorporated or
No,
can it just be
doesn't have to
registered?
be incorporated. It just has to be either sole proprietorship or general partnership or incorporated. Incorporated is always like the normal because
Hmm.
if you're going to take your business to the next level, you kind of want that incorporation where you take
Hmm.
away all liability. Not all, essentially, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It kind of separates your business from your personal life.
Hmm.
Okay, so guys, if you're just joining in, I see some new faces in there. Talking with Nichole Taylor of Tailored Realty. We're speaking about commercial real estate and all the things that a business owner would need in order to qualify for a commercial space. She does also provide residential real estate as well, but today we're focusing on commercial. So, next question. What are some common mistakes that business owners make when looking for a commercial property?
Um, Not taking into account location, not taking
Mm,
into account space that they need, not
mm,
taking into account expenses, which
yeah,
is number one. No,
yeah,
number one, because there's more expenses to just the rent, right?
yeah.
And then on top of
Utilities. Mm-hmm.
utilities,
EMI.
business, the operational costs, like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more expenses, especially if you're going to have more employees because you have to
Oh
pay.
yeah.
So then there's payroll, there's
Mm-hmm.
taxes on top of the rent. So I think that a lot of people don't take that in. Not only are you paying your base rent, but you're paying TMI, which is taxes, maintenance, insurance, plus you're paying taxes on top of that. So
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that. You pay taxes on top of the TMI?
100%.
Oh,
Yeah. So
wow.
you got to calculate the base rent plus the TMI, and then divide that. Sorry, the base rent plus the TMI times the square footage divided by 12, because
You lost me.
that's what you're gonna get. I know, honestly, whoever's in
I
here,
know you got in your head. I was trying to follow, then you like divided by
whoever's in here, and whoever's math people in here, um,
yeah.
divide that by the square footage, and then that's your monthly, cost, and then
Mm-hmm.
sorry, and then yeah, you basically add your taxes on top of like that monthly cost. So
So when you're looking on MLS, that price there that says rent, that's not really accurate because there's so many things to add on top
no,
of that.
like no, for example, like you're like okay, I have my calculator. Let's say your base rent is $10, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
$10 plus your TMI is $5. That's $15, and then times like 5,000 square feet. That's 75,000 a year. Time divided by 12. That's $6,250 a month plus your 13%. So that's $7,062. So that's what you would be paying per month. And then utilities, a rule of thumb is $1.50 per square foot. So what did we
Oh,
say?
really?
5,000 square feet. So 150 times 5,000, that's 7,500 divided by 12, so 625. So you're looking at in almost $8,000 for a 5,000,
Ooh.
5,000 square foot place.
Wow. Okay. You did the calculation so quick,
This is
but
what
I'm
I
sure
do
you use
every
it all
day.
the time. So second nature to you.
It's very
Um,
second nature.
but that's a really great point to point out. Because a lot of people, myself included, I remember when we were looking for a place and you sent me, I was like, wait, how'd she get to that number? And that's exactly it, right? There's so many
Yeah.
things that people aren't considering, which they don't tell you on the listing, right? So what you see is not necessarily what you're going to get. There's a lot more things to consider, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just for the shell of the place. That's not for your products, like you said, your insurance, your
Yeah.
employees, paying yourself. So I can imagine how many people make that mistake. Is that a conversation that you typically have? Like, do you
All the
typically have
time.
that? Yeah, you kind of make
All the time.
sure
Like if I'm working with somebody that wants a commercial space, I go over like um, everything with
they
them
will need,
cost
yeah,
wise,
put in
because I never
perspective.
want to get blamed. Like say, oh, you didn't tell me that, or oh, like I didn't know that. I don't want to feel bad that you didn't know the whole
Yeah. And
ramification.
they're in it for 2 years at minimum, you said, around two
Yeah,
years. So that wouldn't be, yeah,
exactly.
that wouldn't be good at all.
No, I want to
Okay.
sleep well at night.
Yeah, right? That's great. That's good because some people just like, they'll close a deal and that's it. Too bad, so sad. It's your problem, right?
No,
So
I want
that's
everyone to
good.
know the numbers because I want to make sure that you can afford it and that your business is doing well enough to grow and be able to afford it. Like, I'd feel bad, you know?
And, it's good that you still that not you, but there's still people out there that have feelings because there's so many people that are doing jobs and businesses that they don't have any feelings about it and they just
Yeah.
go ahead and they do whatever and then they don't care. I've
Hmm.
seen it. I've seen it
Yeah.
even with the residential homes where it just wasn't the right fit for the client, but because they want to close a deal, they just closed it and left and now their client doesn't feel happy or anything about it. And
Yeah.
that doesn't get you referrals. Like that's one of the biggest things in a business is referrals. And when you treat your clients good, they will speak on your behalf,
Yeah,
right? And that's like one of the
exactly.
best things to do. So,
Yeah.
um, next question. Which areas are more expensive than others?
Like anywhere, so the GTA is very big, but like I would say Toronto and like anything outside of Toronto would be least expensive than Toronto. So definitely Toronto would be more expensive because of the traffic and all of
Mhm.
that. But yeah, anywhere the farther you go from Toronto is the least
The
expensive.
cheaper it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
I remember when we were looking for, like we were talking about location, you said that on top of the store is less expensive than being like on the first level.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that
100%.
way.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because like the ground floor is like the main uh,
Convenient.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a brick and mortar. You get signage more likely. So yeah, anything above like ground floor would be least expensive for sure.
Yeah. You have less traffic, whereas on the main floor,
Yeah,
it's you can have a lot more traffic. So
exactly.
guys, I hope you're getting all these tips and writing these down. So if you're looking for a commercial space, things to consider is location. The further you go from the GT from Toronto, the less expensive. Whether you're on the first floor or on top of a store, second level, it's going to be less costly. Things to consider. When you're looking for a place, TMI, insurance, taxes, utilities, consider everything in its entirety. Um, and what changes have you noticed in the commercial real estate market, um, like since COVID? Was there anything like did that affect anything? Like did leases get shorter or rent go down? Did you notice any changes in
Uh,
the market?
the main thing I noticed was that like industrial went through the roof. So in the beginning, like even last year around I want to say like May, June, industrial was like getting multiple offers, like leasing out like crazy. So that was that. And then outside storage was like a big thing. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
even still big, but like it
Mm-hmm.
anything outside storage, warehousing, people are booming retail wise online, so they need warehousing. So a lot of places that you buy online, they're renting out industrial spots to keep their product in.
Oh,
So warehousing is huge now. Anything with truck level, truck dock, and
loading docks, yeah.
yeah, truck loading dock, and also drive-in doors, like anything industrial. And then I noticed that with leases, they went up. So there's a lot more multiple
Really?
offers with leases. Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, but
Really?
yeah,
Huh.
that's happening. Multiple offers with
Like you're saying that the call like so are you talking about like bidding? Like people can bid on a rental space?
yeah. Well, I mean, when
Okay.
we say when bid it, I mean multiple offers. So like they'll have, it's not necessarily an offer date, but it's people putting in their offers and wanting the same spot. So it's the same thing.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So are they allowed to increase it? Like can you know how there's bidding wars for residential? Can they have that for commercial? Is that legal? Is
Yeah,
that a thing? Oh,
100%. Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
really?
You can have bidding
Oh,
wars for anything that's on the market that people are trying to get.
really? Anything in high
Yeah.
demand, they can just say, okay, well, what's your best offer?
And
Really? I mean, it makes
last
sense.
year, I remember like this one in particular had like 5 offers on the table, and when my client was competing with 5 offers for an industrial unit, and I'm like,
Really? This is since COVID.
this was after COVID. It was after
Wow.
COVID. COVID to me hit like April 1st is when I really was like, whoa, what's going on here? So it was like after
Really?
that, yeah, because I've been busy the whole time, whole year. Didn't
That's good for you. Yes.
It was no, it's blessed. It's blessed. Like I
Yeah.
feel lucky, but at the same time, like commercial was definitely like high at that point as well.
Increase. And residential too. Residential, like,
Oh,
I sold my home last year and it was crazy because everyone predicted that the market would crash and people are going to be out of jobs. But instead, a lot of people are becoming business owners and now
yeah.
looking for rental spaces. And there has been like such a huge jump. I'm like, where are people getting money
Mhm.
from? But
Yeah.
it makes sense. Oh, so you see, I didn't think that. I thought that leases would have been shorter and that
Yeah.
businesses, you keep hearing on the news how many small businesses going out of business. So you would think that the realty part of it would be less, like it wouldn't be, but you're saying no.
No, it was like
So
it was crazy. It's still crazy to be honest.
what about storefronts? Like you said, industrial went up. But what about storefronts? Like, have you noticed
No,
that's going
so
down?
storefronts, I haven't really noticed anything with that. Like to be honest, storefronts is kind of like that's retail, so a lot of
Yeah,
the people have closed down. Um,
yeah,
to be quite honest, like what I've noticed is like people shutting down. Yeah, a,
yeah.
a lot of businesses shutting down. I've seen a lot of bailiff letters on those.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really sad. I came
yeah,
into contact with that at least 4 times already
really?
with the letter, and it's because people can't afford to keep being in business. So it's really sad. Um,
Yeah,
but then the joke is that people are still wanting that because like even these people that like the encounters that I've had, they it's somebody that wants it. So they could have got
gotta
that.
push it a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that the landlords were not in distress. It's more like, okay, this person can't afford it, but somebody else can. So
Oh, so they were kind of pushing people out, knowing that someone else would take it.
not even pushing people out. The other person couldn't afford it, but there's somebody that can, and they were willing to take the space.
So, I don't know if you know, but would they actually still charge the other person who couldn't afford it? Would they still charge them the rest of the lease since they
I
have somebody
believe
else?
I believe that they're still liable for their costs, and if not, that they sell the equipment or the merchandise in the store to recuperate their costs. That's how commercial works.
Oh, so like if they will put a lock on the door and then anything inside of it, they would just
Yeah,
sell it.
they'll
And
put
oh
a
my
lock on the door
goodness.
quickly. Yeah, they can put a lock on the door very quick. It's not like residential where a lot of resident tenants have a lot of leeway.
Yeah. This
Commercial,
one is like you miss your rent, that's it.
yeah,
Lock on the door.
yeah, you're done, done.
Ooh, man, that's heartbreaking. But from a business standpoint, from like the landlord standpoint, I
It,
get it. But then as
yeah,
a business owner, I kind
it's
of
so
like,
sad. It's sad, yeah.
yeah.
But they have,
Oh man,
but yeah, commercial doesn't have that type of leeway, you know?
no,
You
it's the
can
one
lock
in
them
the.
out and then sell their stuff to get your money back, and then you give them whatever the profit was on top of that or whatever.
Really? Wow. I didn't know that. See, I learned so much stuff today. Wow. 'Cause I was thinking, I thought that there was a little bit of a leeway and then they would, give them half rent or something. It
No,
wasn't, I thought the government had did that in the beginning, right? They were giving commercial a bit of a break during COVID, I think.
I don't know about that. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
for
I could
exact.
be making up in my head. I don't
I
know.
know,
I just,
no, that could very well be, but I just don't know.
yeah, yeah.
For me,
Well,
like a lot of people were getting breaks, like period.
yeah,
Especially, well, residential for sure. There was like
yeah,
that you can't evict people, but
yeah.
with the with the commercial, the only thing I know is that they were giving loans out left, right, and center to
Loans,
make sure
okay.
that your business is sustaining, like
Okay.
left, right, and center.
Yeah, but they weren't okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know about like giving the leeway, but I'm sure
Yeah.
that landlords were not being like total dicks about it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I know somebody else and their landlord, I think it was more between them. Their landlord let them do 50%.
Hmm.
And then they just kind of worked back up till they opened their store. back to 100%. But during the time, like when they were shut down completely, they said, okay, do 50%. Which, to me makes sense because at least you're getting something instead of nothing.
Yeah.
But
My landlord didn't do that.
oh no,
No, like
because he saw you could
I
have
had to pay
properties.
full price the whole time.
He's seen you working. That's why he's like, oh no, she's all right.
No, I don't know
She
about
can
that.
pay.
I don't know about
Oh wow, that's great. Well, thank you so much for the information. It was a lot. I learned a lot. Everything that I thought I knew, totally wrong. But guys, if you're just tuning in, Nichole from Taylor Realty. We're talking about commercial real estate. She offers both commercial and residential, but learned a whole bunch of gems today. Nichole, thank you so very much.
that. You're
I appreciate
welcome.
all the information. You're looking great. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming on here
you.
looking fly.
Thank you.
Guys, check her out, Tailored Realty. She specializes in commercial, offers residential as well. So if you have any needs in looking for a home or for commercial, Nichole is a person to go to. She just shared a whole bunch of information with us. So I'm gonna tag you and put all
Thank you so much
the
for having me.
information.
I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
oh, you're welcome. You're
Yes.
welcome.
So
Yeah,
anybody
thank
that
you.
wants to do commercial real estate, definitely get at me and I'll be able to help you.
Yeah, no, guys, check her out. She's you're getting a thumbs up. She definitely knows what she's talking about. I'm gonna post the tips for some people that missed it. But thank you so much, Nicole. I really enjoyed our live.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye, guys. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Bye.